come down off of that,
Yep.
which was great. And,
Yep.
well, Trump kind of removed him, it seems to me,
Well, they
based on.
watch. That's the thing about the Trump team that's different than, previous politicians. And social media has been a game changer. But I think Donald Trump in particular, with the way he used Twitter, like really set the precedent for this in 2016. Politicians can't hide behind a press conference anymore. Like they've got to engage with the people, and they watch Twitter. Like I've had conversations with them. They watch all kinds of things. They'll call me up and be like, is this true? What's happening?
Right.
So it matters.
It absolutely matters. And I personally try to find the fine line between which cause I'm determining I need to retweet. But Angela, so everybody needs to go to freerossnow.org and support it and tweet it and retweet it and share any of the videos about them. Aaron Day has tons. There's also Ross's Twitter. There's a free Ross Twitter. Also buy his book, Hijacking Bitcoin. Let's talk about that. Again, also this happened, but I think the statute probably matters more, but I don't have any details about it. But he wrote a book, Hijacking Bitcoin, and he was supposed to go on a book tour.
Yep.
And I haven't had a chance to read Hijacking Bitcoin, but a couple of people have given me summaries, so I understand. But he talks about, how the importance of Bitcoin and its decentralized, permissionless qualifications that we want, to some extent, has been infiltrated to steer it away from what its initial intent is. Is that kind of the gist of what he's trying to warn us about?
I think so. And, he's really passionate also about it being an alternative to cash, not just a reserve, not just something that people put their long-term savings into. And that was part of the big split in the Bitcoin community, and the way that I see the Bitcoin community is a lot similar to how I view the libertarian movement. There's a lot of factionalism. There's a lot of I'm the one true libertarian. I'm the one true Bitcoiner. And there are definitely valid reasons to have those arguments, but I don't think this is one of them. I think this is like, we just got to join forces and support Roger.
Yeah, I agree. So please go ahead and sign the petition and support him, buy his book, everything like that. I was listening to one of his videos and it reminded me of what Andreas Antonopoulos said in a video that I watched years ago. But the concept of the blockchain and its application, cryptocurrency is just one application of the blockchain. And he was talking about how, we know that internet kind of changes what history was, and even books change what history was. But if information is put on the blockchain, it can't be changed.
Correct.
And I think that is absurdly important, especially over the last 10 years when history has been rewritten. So
yeah,
maybe exactly right.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that there's also like the way that I look at it is that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency there is some difference. Cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is a technology. Maybe it's not meant for the same purpose as Bitcoin, but it's incredibly important. Like blockchain contracts, like you said, like it's just there and you can't delete it and you can't erase it. Like that's really important. Having historical information stored that way would be amazing. As revisionist history is something, that I think we're all familiar with.
Well, and maybe this is a little bit of my concerns about AI kicking in, and maybe it's not a valid concern. But when I was listening to that video, I was thinking putting information on the blockchain could be a protection from potential rewriting of history.
Absolutely.
With AI gone rogue. I mean, I know that sounds scary, but we're pretty much there.
Yeah. Think about it like this. I think about if you have Disney Plus, or anything similar that has old movies old movies, they come up with these sensitivity warnings, right? And they're like, "Oh, we're sorry in advance for showing you this movie that's offensive. It's racially insensitive, like the Indians in Peter Pan. Oh,
Oh
we're
my
sorry,"
God.
so on and so forth. ET though, they just wrote out the rifles that the police were holding when they were coming to take ET, the alien, which I don't particularly find to be that controversial as far as like a villain in a story goes. The government are carrying guns because they misguided or whatever, they view something to be like an existential threat. That's fairly normal. They write it out for walkie-talkies. Okay, who's to say that people aren't going to start writing out like a heck of a lot more than just a rifle in a Spielberg movie? The implication and the technology is already there.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's kind of something that personally
As
makes
so
me
many
feel
things
better.
move to the cloud, and they really discourage you having any hard copy of anything. They don't want you to just like download it and own it. They want you to own movies in the account, right? Own your digital assets in your Amazon login. Who's to say that they can't just go and start erasing history, or that they couldn't just do that to Kindle books too? It's not just movies and cinematography. It's like, who's to say that they can't just start rewriting things about World War II, World War One, communism, our government, Iran Contra, anything and everything, Ukraine war.
Yeah, of course, there's some, conspiracy theory jokes about certain events, how many people died in World War II and things like that. And, there's different accounts, and people say, oh, and they call it the Mandela effect. It
Yeah,
changed, things
yeah.
like that. When did Mandela, all this kind of stuff. But I feel encouraged recently about the blockchain maybe being a respite for us. So, Angela, there's a lot of other things that you are working on as the twice elected chair of the Libertarian National Party. You literally have a seat at the political table. Of
Yeah.
course, I just think that you have been such a trailblazer, and I just need to say this one little nudge. Angela was reelected at the national convention this past May. And that was after she had already invited Trump and Kennedy to come to speak at our convention. And she was absolutely elected with no question. So, a lot goes on in Twitter land, and I just want to remind people of that truth. And we're not going to get into Libertarian Party politics because I really don't like to get into that. But I just needed to say that out loud because, people seem to like to write history over in the Libertarian Party themselves. So Angela had a mandate, and she is doing what she thinks is best as the leader of this party. And the other point that I like to belabor is the concept of, what is a libertarian and libertarians in name only, and what does that mean? What I don't understand, Angela, maybe you can make me feel better about this, is if you're a libertarian and you believe in individualism and you believe in free speech, why are you whining and crying when you disagree with other people's actions to the extent by which it makes you not sleep at night? Why can't we respect the individualism of others and respect the free speech of others and say, all right, well, that's not what I would do. I'm going to go do something else.
I just think that there are a lot of people with too much time on their hands. We got a lot of problems in this world, and a lot of things that you could do to fix those problems. There's also a lot of amazing things in the world that are not problems, but libertarians are crabs in a bucket. They don't want to see anybody but their own tiny little faction of libertarian elevated. They don't like it. They don't want it. I think that libertarians have become so comfortable with losing that like they reject winning because it's unfamiliar territory. Like there's a real pathology to all of this. Not all libertarians though. You know, there are a lot of people who really get it. Someone reminded me of that recently, I think from Michigan, that like I have a lot of supporters. People are really excited about the strategy, how successful it is. It's a lot of work. It doesn't necessarily keep me up at night. A lot of other things do. Like I have a lot of pressures um, trying to funnel a bunch of libertarians into the next administration, right? Going over resumes, forwarding them to the transition team, calling up, finding another transition team advocate, you know, saying, hey, I submitted all these. Can you back me up? Can you help me vet them? Call me if you need vetting. There's a lot of stuff like that that I do that keeps me up at night. You know, blocking people on Twitter is not something I think about too hard. Yeah, it's my hope that a bunch of small L libertarians, independents, and Kennedy supporters will join us over the next couple of years, help us keep a majority and control of the national party, and that I can have really healthy successorship with the next chair so that they can continue to use the Kingmaker strategy and to make a meaningful change. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I am hopeful. We're not going to go into my libertarian journey, but I think that you've done remarkable work, and I hope everybody heard, right? Angela literally is involved in recommending people for positions in this administration. And I could assure people that there are libertarians being considered for positions
Absolutely.
in the Trump administration. And if you don't think that that matters, then I just ask you to please reassess your motivations, because it absolutely does matter, because you're going to have libertarians in working groups with people who have liberty leanings,
Yes.
who have never been exposed to how us libertarians think. And we definitely are changing the narrative. And I think that what you've done is just incredible for this country and this world. And I just hope the best for all our successes for this country. I firmly believe that the Amish, libertarians, independents, and Republicans elected Trump. And that's funny, but that's true. And that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, the data really showed in Pennsylvania. Like it really did show, you know, especially in Bucks County, the libertarian candidates, the down ticket candidates all consistently got 1.2 to like 2.2%. And the presidential candidate got 0.4%. It's not that people didn't vote for libertarians. It's that they didn't vote for the libertarian presidential candidate because they really believed in things like getting Ross free, you know, getting a libertarian in the cabinet, having a seat at the table, getting libertarians in the administration. And there's controversy, you know, as to whether or not Kennedy is a quote unquote real libertarian. He's a lifetime member of the LP.
I'm sorry, that word.
Yeah. He's a lifetime member of the LP, and he is pushing all of our people into HHS. So if you don't like it, I mean, you know, maybe we should just we should just roll over and die because none of us is the one true libertarian.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me, because on the one hand, libertarians constantly make fun of Democrats and Republicans towing their party line, but they want us to toe our party line.
Well,
Like,
and I mean, they also say, so Thomas Massey, they would say, well, he's not a real libertarian because he's not a member of the party. Okay. So Kennedy's a member of the party.
but he's not a real libertarian. You can't win, because it's not about winning. It's about losing, because that was the original point. But, you know, Angela, I get it. And you know, we work on enough projects for us to know. I would like to talk a little bit about Rage Against the War Machine and peace activism. And
gentle reminder, or let me issue this challenge as diplomatically as possible to our viewers and listeners. Please, if you want to see more libertarians in the next presidential administration, go out and work on your resume and get yourself into a position where you are confident that you would pass Senate confirmation, because it is no joke. I made a ton of calls. I asked many people, many people, help me find names, help me call around. Let's find a libertarian who can pass Senate confirmation. It was a lot of work. It's very difficult to pass Senate confirmation. So, take that under advisement, all of you critics.
Yeah, no, exactly. And also, we need to call our representatives to get these people confirmed.
Yes.
Right. We, in each of our states, Kennedy is incredibly important. Everybody knows I'm big into medical freedom and was against the release of the vaccines and biologics before they were even released. And he fell into vaccines because people telling him about, hey, you're talking about mercury in our fish, let's talk about mercury and aluminum in the shots in the childhood vaccine schedule, and literally forced him to read a pile of papers. I mean, that's how he got brought into it. Okay. He was kind of coerced into seeing the truth. And then once he saw the truth, he couldn't not advocate for it. So all of those people that try to criticize him for these stances, and all those people that think we're a bunch of anti-vaxxers, you can have anything you want, but you're going to have informed consent. And you did not have informed consent during COVID mania tyranny. And that's the point, that the preclinical trials showed serious issues. So let's talk about peace activism and Rage Against the War Machine and this wonderful Rescue the Republic event that you had. You worked so hard for all of these things, and you co-founded both Rage Against the War Machine and Rescue the Republic, and it was this power weekend of events.
Yes. Yeah. So I love doing this. It's very exhausting. It's very tiring work. It's very tiring. But Rage Against the War Machine is our anti-war issue coalition, mostly with the left, but we've invited the right in as well. Rescue the Republic is a broader issue coalition on 8 pillars that we thought were essential to basically save America and the Western world: free speech, medical freedom, ending lawfare, things like that, things that we could get basically the dissident left to agree with us, people like Jimmy Dore and Russell Brand. We had a big event. We had a joint event. I'm trying to think of the date. September 27th, maybe? Somewhere around there in DC.
I can't remember, which is wild. I help Angela with the Rage Against the War Machine side. She did Rescue the Republic with Matt Toon and Brett Weinstein, and who says a lot of libertarian things sometimes, which he comes from the left.
Yeah, he's very libertarian. And so do a lot of our members, honestly. Everybody thinks we're just Republicans who smoke weed. We have people who come from the left, especially the anti-war left. So Brett, we need to talk. Join the LP. That's the thing. Yeah, they were incredible. They were exhausting and a lot of work, but the big thing with Rescue the Republic was can we get libertarians and Maha and MAGA to all be friends and to humanize each other? And ultimately it doesn't matter who you vote for. Jimmy Dore was on stage and he was I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump, but I'm here to defend your free speech and I see you as human beings, And I just think that is something that has really been missing from this country over the past 10 years. And I think people are really craving it. People are I just want to go back to 2009. I want to go back to the old good times. And I'm wow, 2009, that was the year of financial collapse. And that's the better time, it's it really tells you, I just want to go back to 2001. It was wow, September 11th, war in the Middle East, and everyone dying is better vibes than now. That's we really need a vibe check, So what I wanted to do with Rescue the Republic was provide a national vibe check and really like plan our flag and say, you know, like these are the bare minimums. Like if you want to run for office, like you got to commit to these things. You got to commit to like rational border policy, as we put it, which means like, okay, maybe you want us to have like super streamlined immigration, like almost open borders. We don't have a rational border policy. We have functionally open borders for people who are snuck in through NGOs, but anybody who tries to go the legal route, it can take you up to 10 years. Like it's irrational and insane. So anyway,
Right.
I think it was a great event.
It was a great event. I was there. It was incredibly well attended. The Rescue the Republic event. And I think it's important, and Angela, we have a lot of philosophical and ideological agreements.
Yeah.
Rage Against the War Machine, like I tell this to people all the time, and I'm okay with it because I still worked my butt off for it, and so did you, was not well attended. And that's the truth. And I'm not going to run away from the truth. Rescue the Republic was incredibly well attended.
Yeah.
And what broke my personal heart a little bit about Rage Against the War Machine is that a lot of libertarians didn't come, to be honest. And a lot of our coalition members from the anti-war left did not come. And part of the reason that I think, and me and you have not actually had this conversation, was because a lot of them teeter towards the pro-Palestinian side of things. Yeah. And so, you know, we worked our asses off for it, and, you know, people have to show up. And again, rallies matter, and then sometimes they don't, but they do matter if you want to form coalitions. And before I let you answer that question, the biggest point that you talked about merging MAHA and MAGA and the libertarian movement and the independents is because really, I agree with you, what unites us is far greater than what divides us. And if you want people to work together, you can't be us versus them, including libertarians being us versus them, because the whole point is to find common ground if you actually want to save this constitutional republic. But, you know, how do you feel? We've never had this conversation actually about the attendance for Rage. It bothered me a little bit. I mean, I got over it. We had a great next day.
Yeah. I mean, you win some, you lose some. The first one was phenomenal. The second one just basically turned into a dress rehearsal for Rescue the Republic. And we produced a beautiful live stream of it. So
yeah,
for me, that's good enough. You know, I also had, and I won't name names, you know, but I had a handful of people on the left who were speakers at the previous event chew me out for literally sharing a stage with the event the next day because there were Zionists on the stage. And when I really pressed them on it, it was literally, you should not share physical space with the event the next day because those people are Zionists. And I'm like, am I allowed to walk down the street with Zionists? Do I sit in the same restaurant? The anti-war left, and not all of them, and the ones who showed up, I am eternally grateful for, but the anti-war left behaves a lot like the Libertarian Party. There's a lot of factionalism and infighting. When they have an opportunity, they don't take it, you know, like, because they're just so used to losing. It breaks my heart. To his credit, though, Jimmy Dore, like, he gets it. Because I offered a handful of others, like, spots at Rescue the Republic, and they were like, nope, not going on stage if Zionists are there. This person's there. I was like, but you have an opportunity to get the message out about how you feel about the United States funding the Israeli genocide of people in Palestine. And they were like, no. Jimmy Dore got up there, and he spoke the truth, and it was incredible. So, you know, it's like, I'm going to do a ton of projects in my life, a ton. They're not all going to be 100%. It's not that big of a deal to me because I'm very like long-term focused and I just want to do a ton of things. I mean, like the only thing I was really like bummed out about was I was just like, oh, I don't want the people here who worked really hard to feel bad. because, like I want my people to feel good about what they do. But I mean, regardless, we still put on like an incredible production, and it lives in memoriam on the internet, and Rumble had an amazing live stream of it. So, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, no, I agree with all the points you made, and I do have, especially since I interact with the speakers, I feel bad for speakers and performers who don't have the audience that I feel like
Yes.
they deserve.
However, they attended an incredible networking event that night for free. So we
Yeah.
still got them like what they needed. And most of them, not all, but most of them were able to attend Rescue the Republic the next day as VIPs. So it was it was really, I looked at it as the whole weekend as an experience.
Yeah, no, I'm just being honest because, I think it's important. And you're right. There was this wonderful event. And, I booked Ivan Brakeland at 5 p.m. on Friday night
He's
and
great.
ran to the print shop in Delaware. I was trying to get there and made a printed badge for him. So when he walked up to me, I handed him a named badge and he was like, "What?" And then
Nice.
I saw him at the party, and the party was the Rescue the Republic people, and it was just great. And I got to spend a few extra minutes with Gabriel Shipton, which is, a funny story. I think we talked about it.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like, for me personally, I'm okay. It kind of is what it is. You can give your full everything to something, and then you just have to see what plays out from it. And I personally have had so many wonderful experiences, but I agree with your point, right? Like, people have to talk to each other, because the game of the duopoly of the controllers of our enslavers is to create this us versus them situation, instead of us seeing what unites us is far greater than divides us. And Angela, I know you get it because you act on it all the time, but it does frustrate me to see libertarians who believe in individualism playing the us versus them game. Like, it's illogical to me.
My takeaway is, like, at that moment in time, neocons want to win more. Like,
right.
Like, let's revisit it. Let's see, like, maybe you guys will change your mind and you'll decide in the future, like, you really want to win. But at that moment in time, like, you don't actually want this. You don't want it. You don't really, truly want to stop genocide. I think that you might understand this from a doctor's perspective. There are people who are very attached to their pain. Pain is an excuse to not go to family gatherings. It's an excuse to not exercise. It keeps you on disability so you don't have to go to a job. Like, pain, you can really avoid facing a lot of important and maybe somewhat difficult things in your life through an attachment to pain. And I think that the activist version of that is an attachment to losing and being unsuccessful. And I don't think it's, we're not always fully conscious of it, but we adopt these really bad framings and habits and mindsets that keep us tied to losing. It's like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't take that risk, I can't talk to that person, because then I might not be the one purest whatever, da, 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 da. But the reality is, like, bro, as you move through life, like, you go to the gas station, you go to the grocery store, whatever, you're not like purity testing every human being you interact with. Like, you fail your own purity test all the time. Right now, you're just forcing yourself to fail when you should be telling yourself to win.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think some self-reflection will do us a lot of good. And, of course, neither myself nor you are perfect, and I've made mistakes along the way. But, Angela, first of all, I'm really grateful to have you as a colleague in Liberty and Peace. I am very happy to always work with you on some projects that we have, and hopefully some in the future. Is there any projects that you're working on or things that you'd like to tell us? Are you hopeful for the future? Because I kind of am. But
yes.
And what else do you want to tell us about? And then we can plug some stuff for you.
Well, I'm always an optimist. I'm putting together a wild inauguration party in DC on the 20th. So I'm planning to have a Fauci piñata and a Kennedy bat. It's gonna be crazy. Maybe I'll bring in Big Macs or something, or beef tallow French fries. I don't know. It's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be memeable. So look out for the invitation link. That should go out soon. We rented a place. We are gonna be charging admission. We need to turn it sort of into a fundraiser, but I promise you there will be a lot of bang for your buck. So be on the lookout for that. The LP inauguration party. People are like, oh, you can't celebrate Donald Trump. We're not. We're celebrating our issue coalition and the wins and the optimism and incredible hope we have for the future.
That sounds great, Angela. It's going to be in DC, I'm assuming.
Yep, DC.
All right, January 20th. So I'm sure Angela will promo it. I will take a day off now and move my schedule around and make sure that I'm there, because that is just going to be
be lit. Hopefully I have Doge cupcakes. It's going to be great.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. And thank you to all the people that are helping you with that. Angela, is there any other projects you want to plug, and how do people find you? And people should join the LP. My LP renewal came in today, and I just was cracking up at that.
Nice.
But how else can people help?
Yes, please join and donate at lp.org. We are also taking volunteers actively right now for anybody who has experience drafting FOIA requests. We want to get to the bottom of what's going on with Roger's case. We want to expose all the crazy stuff that's been happening lawfare wise with the LP. You know, I'm very optimistic about getting Kash Patel in as FBI director so that we can start declassifying all the stuff that's been targeting us. And I had a conversation with him about that today, which is surreal. But please donate at lp.org. Donate to our legal fund. It's very, very helpful. We have also experienced the lawfare and all kinds of crazy stuff. And of course, if you want to support my efforts, you can go to patreon.com/Angela McArdle. I do almost all of this as a volunteer, and I rely on the generous contributions of my supporters.
That's great, Angela. So please join the LP. I would personally be very grateful to have an influx of new people into the LP who are libertarian leaning. Support Angela. Chairman of the National Libertarian Party is an unpaid position. And Angela, of course, is practicing paralegal. So she, has a regular job that she does as well. But she spends an overwhelming amount of time doing this and other liberty work. So please consider supporting her. Join the LP. Look for your local LP affiliates. If you have any questions, you can also reach out to Angela or I. But yeah, support the liberty movement however you deem that you feel inclined to do so. So Angela, we have a free Roger song, and then we always leave with a free Ross song by Jordan Page. So we're going to outro with that. I just want to take this moment to thank you so much for all that you do for liberty, and thank you so much for coming on to Liberty Speaks podcast. We're small potatoes, but we're growing. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
They wanna give him 109 for following the legal line. Bitcoin, Jesus paid his dues. Now they tryna make him lose. Free beer, can't silence the truth. Free beer, breaking their own rules. Free beer, from prison to Spain. Now they doing it again. First investor in the game, now they wanna kill his flame. Hired lawyers did it right, still they wanna pick a fight. Core devs changed the protocol. Government wants total control. Attorney-client privilege dead. Using compliance plans instead, yeah. First investor in the game, now they wanna kill his flame. Hired lawyers did it right, still they wanna pick a fight. Core devs changed the protocol. Government wants total control. Attorney-client privilege dead. Using compliance plans instead, yeah. Free beer. Free beer. Blockstream got the way back then. 1 meg blocks, remember when? Big sterilized. Small blocks kept us paralyzed. Now they're coming for the king, using laws like puppet strings. Spanish prison, McAfee died, making sure Veer stays inside. They can raid the lawyers, what? They can seize the files, yeah. But they can't stop crypto, running wild, running wild. Brownstone dropping truth bombs daily. System going crazy lately. Trying to lock up Bitcoin Jesus, but they cannot defeat us. Fear saw freedom in the code. Now they wanna block his road, but the movement's too damn strong, and this persecution's wrong. Free fear. Free fear. Free fear. Free fear. Down on 9 years for following legal advice. That's not justice, that's a warning. Free Roger Ver.
On day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served.
Is there anywhere on earth where a man can still be free? Will he bear the weight alone, or will he have to bend the knee? Is there no one in this land who grows tired of the game, where the wicked gather stones and build up prisons in our name? There's a story that you've heard before. It's been told inside a cage. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Free Ross. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Free Ross. An honest and philosopher, embattled by the steel of a cell designed to force all men to kneel. But he's patient and determined.